When someone disrespects you, you don't need to raise your voice, you raise your value. You don't clap back with drama, you respond with power. Because when you're truly confident, you don't fight for respect, you command it. And today I'll show you exactly what to say to make them regret ever crossing you. Silence is not weakness. It is not retreat. It is not giving up. Silence is strategy, self-control, and power in its rawest form. In a world that teaches us to react, respond, defend, and attack, silence becomes the most disarming move you can make, and the most intimidating one. Think about this. When someone insults you, mocks you, or tries to drag your name through the mud, they are baiting you. They want to provoke a reaction. They want you to stumble, to lose your composure, to prove them right by fighting back. But when you stay silent, when you stand still with fire in your eyes and peace on your face, they lose their control. You become unpredictable. And that right there is terrifying for the one who thought they had you figured out. Imagine you're at work. A colleague talks over you in meetings, takes credit for your ideas, tries to humiliate you in front of others. You don't clap back. You don't raise your voice. You wait. You let your results speak louder than their noise. And when the time is right, you look them in the eye and say, I don't need to speak louder to be heard. I let my work do the talking. Silence backed by excellence. That's how you destroy disrespect without a word. Or think about relationships. When someone ghosts you, disrespects your love, or plays games to make you beg, your silence is your boundary. The moment you stop explaining, stop pleading, stop giving them the reaction they want, you take back your power. And that silence, it starts to echo. They sit with it, they question themselves, they wonder why you're not chasing anymore. Because silence says what dignity screams. I don't fight for a place where I'm not valued. Even in friendships, silence is golden. When you notice fake support, backhanded compliments, or friends who only show up when they need something, you don't need a dramatic exit. You fade. You stop replying, you stop investing, you stop justifying your distance. And when they ask, why are you so quiet now? You smile and say, I learned the difference between people who clap for you. Silence isn't passive, it's a choice. It's refusing to participate in chaos. It's saying, I'm not here to win an argument, I'm here to win my peace. Because your energy is a currency and not everyone deserves access to it. When you respond to every insult, you lower your value. But when you choose silence, you rise above it all. And the ones who truly respect you, they will feel your silence louder than your words. You don't owe anyone your voice when they've misused your presence. Let your calm be louder than their chaos. Let your stillness make them uncomfortable. Let your silence be a storm they never saw coming. Picture yourself walking away from a toxic conversation. They yell, they taunt, they wait for your breakdown. But you just look at them. Not with hatred, not with hurt, but with the shame. Not with hurt, but with indifference. That's when they realize they no longer have power over you. Because silence is the sound of detachment. It's the mark of someone who doesn't need to fight for validation anymore. And when people see that, when they see you no longer need to prove your point, to raise your tone, to stoop to their level, that's when they start regretting the way they treated you. Not because you screamed back, but because you didn't. Silence is the loudest answer to ignorance. It is the most graceful exit from nonsense. And it is the boldest reminder that your worth is not up for discussion. Ask, don't attack. Because the moment you attack someone, no matter how wrong they are, you give them the right to play the victim. You give them the weapon of your own reaction. But when you ask calmly, confidently, intentionally, you shift the power. You take the spotlight off their noise and put the pressure back on their conscience. Let's say someone disrespects you publicly. Maybe they mock you, roll their eyes at you, or try to make you feel small in front of others. Instead of firing back with insults or anger, look them straight in the eye and ask, is there a reason you're speaking to me like this? That question isn't just words. It's a mirror. It makes them confront themselves. It makes them pause. Because now it's not about what you're doing. It's about what they're doing. And most people don't want to look in that mirror. In relationships, this is even more powerful. Imagine someone you love starts acting distant, cold, or manipulative. You could accuse them. You could yell, cry, demand answers. But instead you ask, is something changing between us that I should know about? That single question cuts through the drama. It forces honesty. And it protects your dignity. Because asking doesn't make you weak. It shows emotional intelligence. It says, I care about truth, not tantrums. The truth is, when you attack, you become emotional. You give your power away. But when you ask, you stay in control. It's the art of being composed even when your soul is shaking. It's the mastery of using clarity instead of chaos. When someone lies to you, instead of screaming, ask, is this the story you want to stand on? That question, calm, sharp, almost surgical, will hit deeper than any insult ever could. Even in your professional life, this rule changes everything. Suppose a colleague throws you under the bus, steals your credit, or sets you up to fail. Instead of storming into a meeting with fury, you approach them and ask, was there a reason you didn't mention my name on that project? That question demands accountability without confrontation. It leaves them exposed without you looking emotional or unprofessional. You win twice. This mindset makes you unshakable. Because people don't expect strength in questions. They expect strength in volume, in drama, in fists on the table. But true power whispers. It interrogates without threatening. It challenges without chaos. And that's where your confidence starts to glow. You no longer need to dominate. You just need to ask the right questions and let the silence after those questions do the talking. In friendships too, when you feel betrayed or excluded, instead of exploding with blame, you ask, was I not included for a reason? You're not begging, you're not accusing. You're simply opening a door, and a wise person knows that those who hesitate to walk through that door weren't loyal to begin with. People respect questions more than confrontations, because questions give them the space to reflect, to correct, to realize they messed up, not because you shouted, but because you made them think. And thinking is far more painful than defending. So next time someone tries to bring you low, don't lower yourself. Don't give them the fire they want. Just ask. Just plant that question like a seed, because the right question grows into self-doubt, into guilt, into regret, and they'll replay it in their mind long after you've walked away. Ask, don't attack, Not because you're scared to fight, but because you've evolved beyond needing to. Not because you can't clap back, but because your silence, mixed with a question, hits deeper than any scream ever could. Ask, don't attack. Because real strength isn't about who can shout the loudest. It's about who can stay calm in the storm. When someone disrespects you, the easy path is rage. The easy path is to raise your voice, throw accusations, and feed the fire. But the powerful path, the one that makes people stop, think, and regret, is when you ask. Not emotionally, not dramatically, just in. Let's say you walk into your workplace and someone has been spreading rumors about you behind your back. You hear whispers, you feel the tension. Now you have two options. You could explode, confront them in anger, defend yourself with tears of fury or fear. You walk up, composed and unshaken, and say, "Hey, I heard something with my name on it. Is there something you'd like to clarify to me directly?" That question, that tone, it shakes the ground beneath them. Because now, it's no longer about hearsay. It's about direct truth. And truth is uncomfortable for people who rely on gossip. In a romantic relationship, when your partner starts acting distant, responding with one-word texts, making you feel invisible, the natural response is to demand, to accuse, to say, "Why are you treating me like this?" But the strong move is to say, "Is there something going on that you're not telling me?" That one question pierces through the surface. Because it's not a fight, it's an invitation to honesty. It doesn't lower your dignity, it protects it. It shows that you're emotionally intelligent enough to have a conversation, not a collision. Even with family, yes, even there. Maybe your sibling disrespects you, mocks your choices, compares your success to others at every family gathering. You don't bite back. You don't let ego speak. Instead, you say, "I noticed you've had a lot to say about my life lately. Are you coming from concern or criticism?" And just like that, the conversation shifts. The moment becomes awkward, not for you, but for them. Because questions like that make people hold a mirror to themselves. And most people aren't ready for the reflection. Or imagine this. You're walking away from a toxic friendship. You've pulled back, taken space, and then that person suddenly messages you saying, "You've changed." The easy answer is, "Yeah, I changed." But the powerful answer is, "Why do you only notice I've changed when I stop serving your needs?" That question is a bomb wrapped in silk. Soft delivery, devastating impact. It forces them to confront their own selfishness, even in public arguments. Say you're in a store and someone rudely skips the line or speaks down to you. You don't need to match their rudeness. You say, "Do you believe being louder makes you more right?" That question freezes people because it calls out the behavior without aggression. It tells them, "I see you. I won't stoop to your level, but I'll expose your arrogance with my calm." Asking instead of attacking isn't weakness. It's a sign you've evolved. You don't waste energy proving points to people who already made up their minds. You don't light fires to feel powerful. You control the flame. You ask questions that feel like thunder in the heart. And the best part? When someone is truly wrong and they hear your question, it won't just echo in the room. It will echo in their conscience. for days. Because when you attack, they defend. But when you ask, they reflect. And reflection is far more painful than argument. That's how you gain respect. Not by shouting, but by showing that your intelligence runs deeper than your emotions. Draw your line with truth. Because when your boundaries are written in lies or silence, people walk all over them. But when they are carved with truth, raw, unapologetic, fearless truth, people may not like it, but they will respect it. Truth doesn't need volume. It doesn't need a crowd. Truth stands tall even when you stand alone. You see, life constantly tests your limits. People will push you, step on your kindness, and if you don't speak your truth, they'll script their version of it. You must have the courage to say, this is where I stop. This is where your opinion ends and my truth begins. Imagine you're in a relationship where someone constantly makes jokes at your expense. Everyone laughs, you smile politely, but deep down, it cuts you. You could brush it off, you could pretend it doesn't hurt, but drawing your line with truth means looking them in the eye and saying, it's not funny to make me the punchline just to make others laugh. That one sentence, simple but true, can shift the dynamic completely. Because you're no longer shrinking to fit into someone else's comfort zone. In the workplace, it's the same. Suppose your boss overloads you with tasks that aren't even in your role, assuming you'll say yes every time. At first you do it, thinking it shows commitment. But slowly you feel yourself disappearing. The truth feels heavy. But one day, you breathe deeply and say, I've been doing more than my share. I want to help, but I also need clarity on my actual role. That's drawing the line. That's truth with backbone. Not loud, not rude, just clear. And clarity makes people rethink how they treat you. Even in family, truth becomes your lifeline. Maybe your parents don't understand your dreams. Maybe they try to impose their expectations on your life. What you should become, whom you should marry. But your soul feels trapped. One day you sit down and say, I respect you, I love you, but I will not live a life that doesn't feel like mine. That's not rebellion. That's liberation. That's a truth that heals you, even if it offends others. And sometimes, the person you need to draw the line with is yourself. Maybe you've tolerated toxic habits, procrastinated on your growth, or betrayed your own potential, trying to please people who wouldn't even clap for you if you want. The moment you look in the mirror and say, enough, I am not available for disrespect. Not from others, not from myself. That's truth reclaiming its place inside you. Drawing the line with truth doesn't mean you have to explain yourself to everyone. Truth doesn't beg for understanding. It simply exists. It says, here I am, unshaken, unedited, unapologetic. And yes, you might lose people when you speak it. But you'll also lose anxiety. You'll lose the constant pretending. You'll lose the need for validation. And in its place, you'll gain peace. So whether it's a friend who only calls when they need something, a colleague who undermines you, or a partner who guilt trips you into staying small, your truth is your sword. Use it, not to attack, but to define. You're not being dramatic. You're being real. And the world needs more real, more women and men who aren't afraid to say, you crossed a line, and I'm not letting you do it again. Truth is not always easy. It can cost you comfort, approval, even relationships. But what it gives you back is something deeper, self-respect. And once you taste that, you'll never go back to silence. Because silence keeps you safe, but truth sets you free. Choose peace over performance. Because at the end of the day, the most expensive thing you'll ever own is your inner calm. And too many people are trading it for temporary applause. We live in a world where everything feels like a stage. Social media has made us actors in our own lives. And often, we forget how to live without performing. But peace doesn't come from the number of likes. It comes when you can look in the mirror and feel whole, without needing to prove it to anyone. You don't have to be loud to be valid. You don't have to hustle every minute to be worthy. Some of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make are the ones that no one claps for. Like walking away from drama, saying no without guilt, choosing solitude over fake company. That's the kind of strength that doesn't look glamorous, but it heals you. Take a simple example. You're in a group of friends and everyone's trying to one-up each other. Who has the better job? The more luxurious lifestyle? The best relationship? You feel this silent pressure to match the energy, to speak louder, shine brighter, exaggerate your own success, just to belong. But then you stop. You take a breath and you say, I'm good with where I am. That choice, that stillness, that's choosing peace over performance. And people may not notice it, but your soul will feel it. In relationships too, we perform. We pretend to be okay. We act like nothing hurts. We smile while dying inside because we don't want to be too much or too sensitive. But one day something shifts. You sit across the table and instead of playing the perfect partner, you say, I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. And I can't pretend anymore. That's not weakness. That's courage. That's the power of showing up as you, not some curated version of you. Think about work. You're grinding, saying yes to every request, staying late, burning out just to appear like the star employee. But at what cost? You haven't slept. You haven't laughed. You haven't lived. And one day, you reach your breaking point. But instead of quitting in rage, you calmly go to your manager and say, I need balance. I'm doing my best to protect you. But you need to remember something. I'm doing my job, but I can't keep sacrificing my health for deadlines. That sentence might not win you a standing ovation, but it might just save your mental health. And that matters more. Even in family, yes, even there, performance hides. You try to meet every expectation. You become the perfect child, the strong one, the reliable one. But behind the mask, you're tired. Choosing peace means allowing yourself to say, I need help too. I'm human too. It may shock them. It may even disappoint them. But it will set you free from a role you were never meant to carry forever. And sometimes, it's just with yourself. You wake up, and instead of jumping into productivity mode, you take a moment to be still. No phone, no rush. Just you, your breath, and a quiet cup of coffee. That small choice, that's rebellion in a world obsessed with motion. That's saying, I don't exist to impress, I exist to live. You weren't born to be a performance. You were born to be at peace with who you are, flaws, mess, beauty and all. So when the pressure builds, when you feel the weight to be on all the time, remind yourself, peace is not laziness. Peace is power. It means you've outgrown the need to prove. It means you've realized that The loudest life isn't always the fullest one. The person who wins isn't the one who shines the most. It's the one who can shine quietly, without losing their soul in the spotlight. Train people how to treat you, because every moment you stay silent, tolerate disrespect, or laugh off a hurtful comment, you're unintentionally teaching the world how little you value yourself. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly setting the standard for how others show up in your life. You're either reinforcing your worth or giving people permission to ignore it. And let me tell you something powerful. People don't remember what you allow once. They remember what you tolerate repeatedly. Think about it like this. If someone calls you at 2 a.m. for emotional dumping, and you always answer even though it drains you, you've trained them that your rest doesn't matter. You've taught them that their chaos is more important than your peace. Now, imagine you say, I care about you, but this time matters to me. Let's talk tomorrow. That one act, it's not rejection. It's education. It's saying, here's how I deserve to be treated. In relationships, this lesson is vital. Let's say your partner constantly makes decisions without considering you. They assume you'll adapt, adjust, compromise, and you always do. But with each compromise, a piece of you goes silent. You think it's love, but love without respect is just attachment in disguise. One day, you choose a different route. You say, I'm not okay with being an afterthought. I need to feel like an equal. That statement doesn't cause a fight, it causes alignment. Because you're showing them how to love you right. Even in friendships, the same truth applies. Maybe you have that one friend who only calls when they need something. They cancel plans, ignore your wins, but expect your shoulder every time they cry. You let it slide, telling yourself that's just how they are. No, that's just what you've allowed. When you finally say, I'm not just here to carry your pain, I need space to celebrate my joy too, you're not being dramatic. You're being deliberate. You're creating a boundary. And boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges for healthy connection. In your professional life, this power can shift your entire reality. Suppose your boss or coworker talks over you in meetings, disrespects your ideas, and you laugh it off or stay quiet. What you've done, without realizing, is say, it's okay to silence me. But when you lift your voice and say, please don't interrupt me, I wasn't finished, that moment becomes your declaration. Not of arrogance, but of worth. It tells the room, I'm not invisible. I'm not afraid to be heard. Even strangers learn from you. A cashier speaks rudely. A customer yells. The old version of you would shrink, apologize, brush it off. But now, you lock eyes and calmly say, you can speak to me respectfully or not at all. That's the kind of training that changes people. Not through anger, but through presence. Through knowing who you are. And let's not forget the most important part. Training yourself how to treat you. If you constantly break promises to yourself, skip rest, ignore your body, abandon your dreams to make others comfortable, you're showing the world that you come last. But when you say, no, I'm not going to that party because I need rest, or I'm investing in my growth, even if no one claps for it, you're sending a message to the world, to your reflection, that you matter. You see, confidence isn't about yelling. It's about teaching. Quietly, consistently, unapologetically, teaching people that you are not a doormat, you are not a backup plan, you are not here to be tolerated. You're here to be respected. And respect starts with you. Exit with elegance. Because not every door deserves to be slammed. Some deserve to be closed quietly with grace, so they never have the power to open again. There's a kind of strength that doesn't scream. It doesn't post long paragraphs. It doesn't beg for closure or clap back with fire. It just walks away. Unshaken, unbothered, undefeated. That's elegance. And in a world where everyone's addicted to reaction, your silence will always be the loudest reply. You see, people expect a scene when they push you to your limits. They're prepared for the shouting, the drama, the accusations. What they're not prepared for is your calm, your poise, your ability to look someone in the eye and say, "Thank you for showing me who you are," and then walk away without turning around. That's power. That's dignity. That's how a queen leaves the room. Let's say you're in a relationship where your value keeps getting questioned. You're being gaslit, dismissed, or emotionally manipulated. You've begged. You've explained. You've tried to fix something that's been bleeding for too long. And one day you wake up and realize the only thing left to do is leave. But not in pieces. Not with a broken voice. You pack your peace, your self-worth, your silence, and you leave like you're walking into your future, not escaping your past. That's the kind of exit that haunts people more than revenge ever could. Or think about the workplace. Maybe you've given everything, your hours, your creativity, your heart, and still you're overlooked, disrespected, taken for granted. Most people would storm out, slam the desk, shout into HR. But not you. You smile. You finish your tasks. You send a final email that radiates professionalism. You walk out the front door like you were born for better. Because you were. That's the kind of departure that makes people ask, how did she do it with so much class? Even in friendships, this rule applies. Maybe you were always the giver, the one who remembered birthdays, showed up at midnight, supported dreams that no one else clapped for. And then you saw the truth. They only loved you when you were useful. You could lash out, you could guilt trip, but instead you go quiet, you unfollow, you detach. You don't curse them, you just rise. Because walking away without bitterness isn't weakness. It's a sign you've elevated beyond the mess. There's beauty in not matching someone's chaos, in refusing to explain what they already knew they were doing wrong. That elegance, that's what stays in their mind long after you're gone. When they expect a storm and you give them a sunrise. When they look for your rage and all they find is your absence. When they try to provoke you and you hand them peace. That's when they realize they lost something rare. Not loud, not perfect, but real. Sometimes the greatest revenge is your glow up, your silence, your ability to smile again without them. You don't owe explanations to people who chose to misunderstand you. You don't need to fight for space in rooms that made you feel small. You simply rise. And you exit like your name was never meant to stay stuck in that chapter. Every time you choose elegance over ego, you upgrade your value. You teach people that access to your energy is a privilege, not a right. And when you walk away, you don't walk empty. You carry your peace, your power, your poise, like a crown no one can take. So here you are, standing at the edge of who you were and who you're becoming, not because life was gentle, but because you chose to rise even when it hurt. You chose to hold your tongue when you could have lashed out. You chose grace when disrespect begged you to react. You chose silence when chaos demanded your energy. That's not weakness. That's the definition of power. That's what royalty does. You see, the world will never stop testing you. People will continue to show up with sharp tongues, bruised egos, and empty intentions. But you don't have to shrink. You don't have to scream to be heard. Sometimes the softest voice shakes the loudest room. Sometimes the woman who walks away without a single word leaves a scar they'll never forget. Let them misunderstand you. Let them think your calm is fear, your exit is surrender, your silence is weakness. Because one day, they'll realize the truth, that you were never angry, you were just done. You were never bitter. You were just wise enough to stop watering dead plants. People who wouldn't even give you honesty the first time. That's not giving up, that's growing up. And growth, real growth, looks like you no longer sitting at tables where love is conditional and respect is rationed. Remember this. Don't waste words on people who deserve your silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. That's not just a quote. It's a life lesson. Your energy, invest it where there's return. Your time is sacred. Give it where it's valued. Your heart is a home. Offer it where people wipe their feet before they enter, not where they slam the door behind you. You are not too much. You are not too emotional. You are not too strong. You are exactly who you were meant to be. Powerful, elegant, and unshakably wise. And when people try, people who wouldn't even give you honesty the first time, that's not giving up, that's growing up. And growth, real growth, looks like you're no longer sitting at tables where love is conditional and respect is rationed. Remember this. Don't waste words on people who deserve your silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. That's not just a quote, it's a life lesson. Your energy is currency. Invest it where there's return. Your time is sacred. Give it where it's valued. Your heart is a home. Offer it where people wipe their feet before they enter, not where they slam the door behind you. You are not too much. You are not too emotional. You are not too strong. You are exactly who you were meant to be. Powerful, elegant, and unshakably wise. And when people try, take the high road, you are climbing higher into your own greatness. Every time you walk away from a fight that doesn't serve your soul, you are teaching the world a lesson it won't forget. That a woman who knows her worth can't be shaken by a fool who forgot it. So exit with elegance, respond with wisdom, set boundaries with class, and move like a queen who doesn't need a crown to be recognized. Because the crown isn't on your head, it's in your presence, in your decisions, in your silence, in your peace. And if they ever ask why you walked away so quietly, just smile and say, because I know who I am, and that was loud enough.